All right, guys, what is going on? Welcome back to the channel. I know that I said the next video that I was going to load up here would be some beach driving, but I've been so busy with everything else, and I do have some stuff to do on the Escort. So we're going to do a little bit of that today, and hopefully next week I'm going to have time to go and do some beach driving for you guys as well. And there's a lot of you over in the UK that have probably never seen any beach driving, let alone done it. So we're going to get that on the channel for you, definitely. But today, let me show you what I do have, and I'm definitely not going to get it all done today. I'm not even going to get half of it done today, but I'm going to get as much done as I can. So yeah, let me show you what I've got. All right, so a little bit of space there. There we go. Got all of this, guys. I did make a short and loaded that up, but I basically have a full, pretty much front to rear kit of Super Pro bushes, everything from CJ Auto Services. Massive shout out to those guys. And I got these. I believe these are for the rear suspension, rear spring cups. Don't actually make these new anymore, and they're supposed to be rubber. They're not supposed to be like solid, you know, like the Super Pro stuff or the Powerflex stuff. So I've got these. They're actually, for secondhand, they're pretty good. That you can't go wrong with that, can you? So got all of those. Shove this back in the box. And then got this box from the UK as well. Little instruction sheet, I'll show you that. Pour all of this out. Now this, guys, is a full underside bolt kit. And everything is like numbered as well. So gearbox, cradle, rear. You know, we got 15 rear tie bar beveled washers, and they definitely feel like washers. So yeah, that's really cool. And some little stickers. Probably not going to use these though, to be fair. So I'm going to get all of that done. This light's pretty bad. Got to find a good spot. That's better. So I'm going to get all of that done. Well, say all of that. Not all of that, clearly. But I do need to turn the car around in the garage because I'm going to drop the fuel tank. And because I'm dropping the fuel tank, I'm going to start then removing all the MFI, because you guys know I've got the full EFI kit to go on here now. I'm just missing the Fiesta TPS, but I've literally got everything else. So I'm going to start that as well. And I want the nose of the car at the front of the garage because it's just going to be easier having the nose of the car up here at the front. When I start taking the motor out, it's just going to be heaps easier. If it's here, then I can lift the car up and bring the motor out underneath. I would like to actually take the motor out the top. I think, I don't know, I just kind of feel that might be easier, but everything online says take it out the bottom. So you guys let me know in the comments below, have you taken the motor out the top and the bottom? Which one was easier? What would you recommend? Any advice, because I've not done anything like that on a Mark IV Escort before. I was actually thinking about if I didn't really want to split the head and the block, but I'm going to be turning the boost up. I'm going to be running a bit more power through it. So probably Do you reckon, leave another comment. Do you reckon it's worth splitting the head and the block and replacing the head gasket just as a precaution because I'm going to have the engine out? Or do you think it's not worth it? I'm going to be running about 250 horsepower. Let me know in the comments below what you would do. Let me some advice. Massively appreciate it. But sit back, relax, cue the intro, and enjoy today's video. All right, so you guys didn't need to see the first bit of this video because I was basically just jacking it up and taking the wheels off, and you guys all know how to do that. You've seen that 1,000 times. But one thing I'm really, really grateful for is how solid my car is underneath. So I can use the factory jacking point. So here on the back is the factory jacking point, and there is one on the front, but for like axle stands and workshop jacks, it is, let me see if I can just get the camera out. It's down there. So really, really cool that. I'm very grateful. The car is super, super solid underneath, and I always put the wheels there underneath because I am going to be under the car. I am going to be taking stuff off and, you know, using wrenches and stuff like that. And it's always possible the car can move, so I always put wheels underneath like that in case it slips off the stands. But you can see how nice and solid that is underneath. Okay, so the first thing now to do is the fuel tank. I'm going to drop that off. I'm going to need to actually drain it. So I'm going to do that. You guys have seen me do this before, so I'm not going to give you a step-by-step or anything like that. I'm just going to put the camera down, time-lapse, and talk over it. A guy, Matt Armstrong, if you haven't watched him, check him out on YouTube. Builds some insane cars. All right, check him out. Never met the guy. One day I hope to meet him. Guy time-lapses most of his videos and talks over it, and I think it's really cool. So I'm going to do that. Take the tank off, and the reason I'm taking the tank off is because the rear sway bar comes up between the tank and the actual car. So I've got the bushings to replace on the rear sway bar, so I need to take the tank out to do that. Super easy job just to drop the tank now, and you can see that it is a new tank as well that I put in recently. So just undoing the clip, the fuel line clip on the rear of the tank there, which is the fuel line that goes to the fuel pump, and then the one on the front there, which is the return line from the car. So just taking that out and letting it drip out. Now I did run the tank as empty as possible, or what I thought would be empty, but turns out that it did have around about 10 litres left in the tank, which you will find out later on in the video. So just trying to undo the tank strap now, and I realize it's probably going to be easier if I come around the other side, so I'm not reaching through dripping fuel, and I can undo the tank strap. Now it came out relatively easily because it has only been in for a very short period of time. And then I undid this bolt here, and I honestly thought they were the only two bolts. So I start struggling to try and break the tank free and get it free. And you can see me here in the next scene where I'm just basically fighting against the tank to try and get it out. And I suddenly realize, actually, there's a third bolt. So as I start undoing that third bolt, you can see the tank just starts to drop down towards the ground. I've got carpet underneath so I don't scratch my nice new tank. And then get it all the way down as far as I can, remove the breather lines from the back of the tank, and then the filler neck just slides out the back end of the tank there, and the fuel pump, or sorry, the fuel gauge electronics in the tank just kind of disconnect really easily, as you can see. Just going to empty the tank out now from what is left in it. I mean, fair bit dropped out, but the return line isn't all the way at the base of the tank, so it did stop draining out. So just going to try and pour as much out as I can. You can see that I didn't learn from the last time I did this, and I made an absolute freaking mess of everything. Spilled fuel all over the carpet. So luckily they're just like old carpet squares, and I can just take them outside and well, just chuck them in the bin, I guess. So you can see heaps of fuel actually came out. I was really surprised at how much fuel came out. That little thing that I have there is around about 8 liters, and I took almost a full one, actually more than a full one of those out. And then I went and got a jerry can, as you'll see in a bit, to basically just pour it in. Pouring the fuel into the jerry can. I'm just going to use this fuel from the tank because there was a little bit of crap left in my drip tray. Just going to use that in my lawnmower. Got a fair bit of lawn up here, and you can see just spilt fuel everywhere. What a mess. So should probably have removed the carpet and maybe done this outside, but it is what it is. They're old carpet tile squares. I'm not too concerned. I'll just chuck them outside to air out, and if they still stink, they'll just go in the bin, and I'll get some new ones. They're pretty cheap. So yeah, I'm just going to use this fuel in the lawnmower because there was a little bit of crud in the bottom there, but basically just pour as much as I can into the jerry can, and then I'll just empty out the rest of the tank because there's about another liter or so left in the tank, and then I'll pour that into the jerry can, and we are done. That fuel is going into the lawnmower, not all 9 liters of it, obviously, but that's what it's going to get used for. Going to throw out these. You think I would have learnt from last time. I did exactly the same thing last time, so I've got to throw those out. At least going to sit them outside anyway for a couple of days. Cap off the ends of the tank just because of fumes and stuff like that in the garage. And then get the rear sway bar out. All right, so this is interesting. This is the anti-roll bar for the rear, like kind of linkage, and it's a strange one. This is exactly how it tells you to do it in the Haynes manual as well. To just pop it off. And it did take a bit on the other side. Let me put the camera down, use a little bit better tool than a screwdriver, and we'll get it done. All right, so that is off. Both sides. There we go. And I do have new ones with new rubbers and everything. Check that out. We got a focus there. Amazing. Perfect. All right, so to get the roll bar out, it's under here. You can see it with the camera there. Where are we? Where are we? There we go. And there. So I need to undo those bolts. We can, on the other side, right down the end there as well. Yeah. And then drop the roll bar out. Bit of a clean up under here. There's obviously a little bit of surface rust. You know, car has spent a long time in the UK, but all in all, pretty happy with that. All right. This is our rear sway bar. There's a little bit of corrosion on it. It looks like just a top layer of maybe like under sealant or something is flaking off. You can see, or just like dirt and crap. It does look a little bit surface rusty here. So we'll clean all of that up. And I got new bushings to go in there as well. These actually hold it in. So this goes through the brace on the car and it bolts on this side. And that's the one I took out. And that's the new one. So I got brand new ones. It's not too bad, you know, considering it's a 34-year-old car. That's not too bad. But yeah, guys, so that is it for today. Took me, I'm going to say, what's the time now? It's 3 o'clock. I came out here at about 12 and started work. So it took me 3 hours to video all this for you guys, maneuver the car, set the camera up, take the fuel tank out, tip the fuel into the jerry cans to use in the lawnmower, and then get the rear sway bar out. One of the bolts was really, really difficult to actually get out, but it came out in the end. So that's it for today. I'm going to clean the rear sway bar up, probably off camera, paint it. Not sure what color. It's going behind the fuel tank. But yeah, gonna clean it all up, replace the nuts and bolts, replace the bushings. The car will have a full underbody restoration later when I get a lift and I can hydraulically lift it up into the air and all that kind of stuff. But that's going to be happening next year. So I just want to get all this stuff now. And keep enjoying the car. So check in with the next video, guys. Thanks for watching.